Yes. So we're going to start off. There's something that was very distrusting about him. Um, yeah. So we're going to find out now, okay? All right, here we go. Anything else before I begin? So that's the main question, right? Okay, Cody the Sagittarius. Okay. 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 So, one second. Okay. So, I'm just gonna be very honest with you. You're not very honest for whatever reason. You're deceptive. You do have several lovers. Maybe you're embarrassed about it. It doesn't really matter because I don't care to know those details about people because it's TMI and, GROSS. But, if you are getting love readings and you're telling people that you have been celibate and you don't see anyone and you're afraid of all that, it paints a different picture. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to tell you the information because that's what I'm here to do. But if I see something, I'm not a mushroom, don't feed me bullshit kind of thing. I'm straight up. So here we go. There is a couple of things. The thing with magic, going to one person, doing a candle, a spell, love, cleansings, and all those things. That kind of thing, hopping around, people think that the more they do it, it's going to align them and clear things up for them. It really doesn't. It really messes up their love life. But to each their own. I do mention that because it is in the reading. This focus of this reading is Cody. What I didn't like about him and what is the problem. Let's begin. First of all, he seems like he has a vibe about him that maybe he's a little bit younger. I'm not, there's no ageism. That's ridiculous. People can look like amazing at 70 these days. It doesn't matter. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because in the reading, it's showing that he has the way that he shows himself to be is he seems like someone who part of his drive, part of his swag, part of his demeanor is that he feels young. So he feels like the maverick and he prides himself. So maybe he's really high energy or he is a little bit younger, not by much. And this is about him, not about you. This is a reading about him, what he feels, what he's like, what his story is, what his details are, okay, his intentions. This is where I'm focused. And because this type of vitality, stamina kind of vibe that he gives off is there, it's important. So if you haven't seen that in him, he is a bit egotistical, maybe quietly. All right. It does show he's aware of some of your past, some of your information, some of it, because it also shows in here. He does see some kind of heavy conflict, maybe the way you've expressed yourself or maybe the way that you have, maybe talked to him. It does show that he sees that there's maybe like a timid part of you. So there is a fear that is genuine, and that can be with, of course, starting something anew, and that part is genuine. I do see that, and I do see that he must be aware of it because this is coming up in his perspective. He is a very positive person. He is a go-getter. He's very, optimistic. And he will be pushing you to do new things. All right. So this is a good thing. I do see a lot of things that he has hidden from you. The important part is that I'm seeing, and how can I say this carefully? Because I do not diagnose, I do not do medical readings, and I don't get into anything medical. I don't care to. I stay in the spiritual, which is my arena. However, I am seeing that this Cody person, and if he's present, then hello. I am seeing that this person is very, he has a, how should I say, emotional issue. Okay, let's call it, some people might say psychological heaviness. I don't want to use clinical terms, but this person, let me break it down really clear. This person is has a tendency to be uncomfortably jealous. Women that date men that have this type of edge or behavior may feel claustrophobic, where at the beginning it seems really wonderful and later it seems uncomfortably possessive, where 1 minute it's all romantic and twirling and dancing, and the next it's, where are you going? What are you doing? No, you're not. You don't have to talk to them. So very controlling. This type of unhealthy behavior is part of this person. So this person also has a couple of things in their past that if you maybe hired a PI or you went into looking at some of their, maybe it's public record sometimes when there's details of civil cases are not public, but the actual case is, you can see that there's a couple of things in his past, maybe speaking to someone that he's close to or whatever. You will see that there's been a couple of colorful stories. I'm not saying that there's something nefarious about him, not by any means, but I am saying that there is a couple of times where his jealousy has been quite out loud. All right. So don't put words in my mouth. Don't try to say that I was saying that he has any kind of criminal history. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that he is a person that has displayed levels of jealousy and possessiveness uncomfortably. So, for example, yelling, maybe some domestic altercation, maybe there's been something where, one might question maybe anger management with jealousy being the button. So this type of hothead demeanor tendency in a personality can be offsetting to someone like yourself who is more quiet, more private, more reserved, more calm, especially if one has children and all of that. So like I said, there's something shady. Let's talk about the other things that I see hidden from this person. I'm not saying they're a bad person. Obviously, they're successful, they own a home, they have their business, there's a lot of good things about them, and they are extremely positive, and they're making you smile, which is wonderful. However, you did ask, what is under the veil? And this is what I'm addressing. There's a couple of things that I do see hidden here, and that is that he has, before, to other women he has been involved with, been duplicitous. He's been untruthful. He's been kind of like sleeping with one and not telling the other one. It's quite the womanizer, not always, but if he has to be quite treacherous for his personal gain, he will. And that is immaturity, and that is important. So If you date people hiddenly and you're embarrassed to talk about it or whatever, that is different, because you do it with, you know, you do it with a certain type of grace, you do it with a certain type of maturity, you do it the right way. He does it in a way where the stringing along and the let's see what I can get away with, it's a different approach, and I think that he's more shady. Now, do I think that he was going to do that to you? I don't see that that's a situation currently. No, I do not. I do see that it's genuine, that he's into you very much. I think the first thing that's most important is his tendency to at some point be possessive and jealous, and I think try to be controlling. I'm not escalating this information to the point where I would say he's SA or DV or any of those crazy extremes. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's still under the umbrella of that type of behavior. So today he may seem wonderful, amazing, sprinkles on top, but tomorrow brings new faces. You know, tomorrow brings new, in other words, in the near future is what I'm saying metaphorically, is that in the near future, you will see little bits of him, you know, out loud, where you will see, ooh, that was a flag. That's weird. Oh, that was really uncomfortable. And then again, something like that. So all you can do is live your life, be happy, take it a day at a time, just be understanding and be aware. It's very hard to date your neighbor, and then if you have a lover's quarrel, you cannot just live your life wonderfully and freely. You have a big ass problem if you are dating a man that becomes obsessive and doesn't want to break up with you, and he's your neighbor. You're talking about, you know, eavesdropping, bugging equipment, surveillance, being obsessive. I'm not accusing him of that. I'm not saying he's going to do that. I'm saying anyone in their right mind. Have you ever heard the American saying, don't shit where you eat? Right. So that has to do with don't, it's very grotesque, crass, you know, North American saying, however, very true. That pertains to the workplace, but even worse, the home. So what I'm saying to you is, if you do involve yourself in a romantic relationship with this person and they are wonderful, but then you decide that it wasn't up your alley, it wasn't your cup of tea, breaking up with someone like that, you can't move. I mean, you can move, but it's really hard to just move in a situation like that when you're a homeowner. And a rent, I guess you'd have to wait for the lease to be up, and then it's really annoying to up and move your entire life because something's not working, and then he has to monitor who drives up to your house and what's going on, and that's very uncomfortable. So again, I'm just suggesting that you know, the Libra is someone that I do see would bring you happiness, and I see that would bring you harmony, and is a very healthy connection for you if you so choose. All right. And you would not have that problem with the Libra because the Libra is very respectful, laid back. You know, he allows space, and he's very respectful and slow to approach. And those are behaviors that show control and self-poise and dignity and respect. And he also wouldn't taunt you in that way. So if something goes wrong with a neighbor, that's quite an unpleasant scenario. This reading does show that you do have fears, that you have thought very negatively about, here's a very strong term, the word death. It's not a popular term to use in happy readings, but it shows when a person, we humans are capable of positive thought, negative thought. You know, humans think about everything, so it's part of life. But in this particular reading, it does show that your fears, aside being, you know, those of real commitment and you know, starting afresh, you know, by something that's openly committed, it also shows a lot of signs of fear when a person is thinking to themselves, when they pass, what their end is it over? They age prematurely in their mind. That you could be extremely happy, which I see that you really are. That's probably why you look so young and you feel so happy, and you are very young. But I'm just saying that when a person is stuck on feeling sometimes negatively in that way, it ages people in general. Negative thinking ages. So it's saying that there's a lot of things that you hold on to yourself and a lot of fears that you internalize, and they do come out in the reading. Almost like saying that, when a person is afraid of believing in love again or believing that they can start again. And this is very much hindering in the reading. This also talks about a lot of protection. So there is a lot of spiritual protection that you have. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but it's not just your spirit guides and ancestors. It's also, deceased loved ones that very much guide you like constantly. Not that other people don't have that level of protection. It's just that for you, there's been this unique unification of protection for whatever reason, and that is very important. What is within your power to do in this situation? I guess do a little heartbreaking and put a boundary up with this person. So if he feels that he is the one he's just won your heart, and you are very open with, which is naturally the thing you're supposed to do when you're in a healthy relationship. You're supposed to open your heart and let that person know how you feel. But in this particular situation, you don't want to give him too much leeway, open door too soon, because this is when he can take grab of that and feel like, okay, I'm her man now. Like, this is it. Like, this is happening. And in this particular case, it's encouraged that you tighten your boundaries extremely well and keep him in the yes, it's happening, but very, very slow category, or perhaps maybe in stages. It's slowing it down, because this is, and it can hurt a little bit, but in the techniques and the strategies that you have displayed with the Libra is unhealthy for that connection, but very healthy for this one. So if you were to treat him like you have the Libra, where well, it's not the same thing, obviously, but if you were to give him a sense of, yes, you're wonderful, but we have to take baby steps, and you monitor and see how he reacts in certain situations, how he handles it, how he responds to you. You're going to find out people's dark side, people's, testing limits, with anyone that you do, with coworkers, people you hire, friendships, whatever. You're going to see little by little how people open up, and how, you will be able to see what they're made of in a scenario where someone gets upset, or plans get canceled, or you decide to be secretive and you're on the phone with him and you say, oh, I'll tell you about it some other time. See how he handles that. Because there are things where if someone just flies off the deep shelf and says, I want you to tell me now, who the hell do you think you are being so, that's confrontational. You're going to see a flag right there. You need to know him more. That's what I'm telling you, especially if he's next door. I do see that there is going to be naturally a reconnecting with the Libra interest again, naturally, on your own accord. This is what I see. I also see that you do have to be aware. You do what you want with your spirituality, but I do see that there's a lot of tampering. So, doing things spiritually here, doing things there, believing this direction, that direction causes chaos and confusion for yourself. So you're the type of person that if you get a reading, if they don't tell you exactly what you want to hear, you're going to go and it's not just you, it's millions of humans in the world. If they don't hear what they want to hear, they're going to go pay someone who will tell them what they want. And I'm pretty sure you will have probably about 2,000 people at the end of the week, if you really did that all day long, that will probably tell you this is a wonderful connection. You're going to get married. And that's fine. That's your prerogative. I'm telling you, there's a uncomfortable side to this man, and I'm not saying cut the connection if you're happy. I'm saying be very intelligent about how you deal with that. And when you talk about his past, he will not let you in completely. He will hold back on how much he is sharing, because there are skeletons in the closet. And if you are, cunning enough to converse with him and kind of grab bits and pieces and give it back to him, if that's something you're skilled at, then he will, you will see bones come out of the closet, as they say. No, he'll retract a story and tell you another one. So I'm not painting him as a liar. I'm painting him as someone who has a right to happiness. He is a good person. He is a very happy, positive person. But he does have things that are concerning. And he does have stories in the past with the way he has handled women and lovers, that it just, nobody would want that out. Nobody would want that. So he doesn't kiss and tell, and that's good. That goes with the territory. But there's plenty that he's kissed and hasn't told. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Let me see. Okay, pretty much that is the reason why. Because of the way that you're, when you have more dinners, you hang out more, you talk more, you start dating, you get this going, because you're going to see uncomfortable flags and things that keep you like raise an eyebrow, and little things that make you think, oh my God, this is wonderful, but ooh, oh no. You may find yourself in an awkward situation. I believe you got this reading because you are protected. I believe that you were meant to know this, because I think now what's going to happen is that you're going to, continue on your path, but you're going to be wise about what you see and what you hear and what you feel. And when you have knowledge, it gives you power. And you're going to jump into this scenario much differently than just the positivity. You're going to consider a lot more things, because the good thing about you is that you do think a great deal about things, and you do make smart decisions with yourself. I do see that. You have a lot of wisdom in your own way. Maybe that's the motherly part, I'm not sure, or something you got from your mom's line, but you have a very good head on your shoulders. And I think that all you needed to know was, what I said. That's going to be enough for you to see it with your own eyes, feel it with your own feelings, your own intuition. You yourself will uncover, and your protectors as well. So there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing stressful in this reading. I don't see anything going wrong that you have to worry about today. I see that as long as you have this awareness, you will make the right steps. The reading ends very positively. I do see that you will, at some point, redirect your focus to the Libra, even though that connection scares you. I do see that there's going to be a very good result in your love life, because you keep proactively trying to work at it. Now, at the same time, I do see that there's something that's been, spiritually tampered with, or magically, intrusive. And I do see, because of that, there could be some false pretense at some point. And that's a whole other ballgame. I don't check on spiritual things like that, unless I do the work. So, but that's fine. I still see positivity. There are some negative bouts to the reading. Like I explained, flags will be seen. The uncomfortable pattern that you've had for a while will remain until you work at it at the root. But the other negative part would be that you still feel, or will feel soon, a little bit lost in your spiritual journey. I do see that. I even see you being misled at some point. But the positive is you will your own intelligence, your own intuition combined will lead you to good decisions. And I do see the Libra being an interest back into your life. I see that what will happen is that there will be something with you that opens up naturally with him, where you say to yourself, something doesn't feel right. Like I don't like how he reacted with me. I don't like how he acted that day. I don't like what he said. That changes how I see him. I do see you without effort or without anything. I do see you naturally continuing to nourish this connection. So that's okay. This is the present life. It's playing out. But I see that there will be things that you see yourself. You yourself will plug out of the interest that you have right now. So right now you're very plugged into being very interested in all of that, and that's fine. But something is also going to change naturally. Let me check on one thing about the near future. Yeah, so because there's magic involved, and if we want to be technical and we want to break down the magic, that flaws things. So when a person does anything spiritual for love, it is magic. And when that is involved, it can put a blind eye or a blind spot, if you will, on the situation. So what I'm saying to you is that if you continue to feed a facade, at some point the story will be interrupted. Let me see how long. The Libra might warn you about him. The Libra will warn you about him or try to. So I know that you're just friends with him and you don't really talk about much. But there's going to be something that the Libra says to you in the future. Some people are very blunt about what, what they say. They'll say, oh, what are you doing? He's not good. And some people don't bring it up like that. He might bring it up to you in a way that maybe it's a question with a question, because he's shy too. So he might say, what do you know about him? Or he might, it's saying that the Libra will have some kind, any man that is near any woman that they care about in any way, friendship, platonic, romantic, whatever, and any man in the universe that sees a woman they care about and she's dating someone and there's something untrusting, every man will say something in their own way. In this particular case, he's romantically attracted to you, but you have a friendship only, and maybe it's more than that. It doesn't really matter. The point is that I do see that he's going to have some kind of you know, I don't know if he's going to say it outright or he's maybe going to hint at it, but there's going to be something from his own effort that doesn't want to, you know, for you to continue that connection. And I guess you will see what that feels like when you deal with him and the subject comes up. Maybe they'll meet in person. I don't know. And you might feel an awkwardness. There's going to be something there. Let me see one more thing about. All right, let's talk a little bit about the magical part. Some people some people get involved with spiritual workers or, you know, some kind of healer or some kind of all these kinds of things. And what happens is they'll do something to the person to bring them back or something corrupt. There's a lot of different things. There's been books about it. It's just like a mechanic. There are good auto mechanics, and then there are mechanics that'll easily, you know, mess with a certain car part just to have the woman come back and, you know, spend more money. So every dentist's the same thing, you know. Every industry has, unfortunately, that. So I don't know how deep this runs with it. Maybe you're unaware, but I do know that you have gone to a lot of people that are, you know, give like readings and maybe cleanses and things. And all I'm saying to you is that there's something that is, you know, maybe you weren't aware of it, or maybe you were, but you didn't know enough to identify it. There's been something there with, you know, maybe you tried to fix something, or maybe you tried to clear something. And, you know, maybe that's what's showing. I'm not so interested in that though, even though, yeah, it's important to let you know that. I'm more interested in Cody. One second, because you had asked something. I'm not trying to switch subjects, but it's just, you know, I gotta look at every part here. So there's one thing I want to clear up. You had said, so I had told you very clearly that there were things about him that I didn't like, and that he would show his personality, but I don't know if you would see that. I don't know if you, because in a way, just like, forget actual occult magic, let's talk about love magic in general. The way a woman wears perfume or lipstick, you know, the way that a man can be put under a woman's spell. Well, the same thing when a woman is first, you know, noticing someone who makes them very happy, you know, in a way they are under the guy's spell. In a way, you can think of it that way. Love is kind of like that, right? It's all, you know, it can also be that you are so enamored with the thought of this new beginning, because he has a strong effect on you. You may not see this side that I'm talking about until later, because the problem is that you gotta understand, in the reading, I didn't say to you, oh, this problem is going to happen really big for you. I didn't say that. If there was a big problem, I would have told you immediately. What I said to you was I didn't like him. There was something about him I didn't trust. And then logically thinking, I said to you, you got to be careful when you live next to someone like that, because cutting that door, cutting that tie, it wouldn't be the same anymore. It would be very, very awkward with, just like I said, you know, like when you work with someone, or it's a boss or a coworker or your neighbor, you know. So understand that I'm not saying there's something really negative he's going to do. I'm saying that as a person, there's something that at some point does shine through. This is part of his personality and part of what his problem is. And there is something psychologically offsetting, if you will, or emotionally offsetting in his, you know, approach, his intention, his approach, where it shows an issue, all right? Impulse control poorly or something, because it's talking about, in the headspace, the emotions, the psyche, personality. I don't know how else to explain it. So I'm showing that there's someone that when you finally wake up and you have already been involved with for a long time, and you then see this, it's almost like, it can't be a surprise then. It's like when a woman, falls in love with a man that wants to do XYZ, whatever that is, right? And then everything is wonderful for like 7-8 years, and then one day that becomes a very big problem, and the family members tell the woman, well, what are you complaining about? We all told you the first week. So this is what I'm saying to you. I don't see a single problem on a calendar day. I'm seeing that there is an issue with this person that at some point will concretize, at some point will solidify, at some point this is a heaviness with this person, and you may be at that point too deep in to realize it, not realize it, when by the time you do realize it, it'll be too late as far as like being involved and then trying to awkwardly close that door. So it would complicate your life in ways that today it's not complicated. Yeah. So the problem that I'm saying to you is, let me say it one more time very clearly. I don't see a near future problem. So 2025, 2026, I'm not saying, oh my God, 3 months from now, he's going to do this. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying that, you're going to have this profound issue very soon. I'm showing that there are things that you cannot ignore, where there's shady lies, there's a lot of, duplicitous things he's done in his romantic history with trust and treating women and being Mr. Casanova kind of thing, playing field, and there are things about his attachments, there's something unhealthy about it. I don't know if he has a drinking problem on top of that or something. Maybe he did at one point, something that escalates when you introduce it to already a troubled psyche, right? So because of that, I'm saying that at some point in the farther future, this will come out and shock the shit out of you. And you will say, holy moly. It's not something near right away. It's something that you will see flags in a short time if you open your eyes. You may not see them, and then years from now say, I did see it. Why didn't I see it? That's what I'm saying to you. So the only way for you to realize what I'm saying is a couple of things. Number one, if you have friends that are close to you, family members, one of the most interesting things, whether you are close to your family or not, families and close loved ones are a sounding board when a person is having a problem. They may not, there are people that maybe they're not close to their relatives, maybe they don't really get along, but let me tell you, the people that know you the longest and the most, they have this uncanny way of saying, wow, she's not really your friend. What are you doing? Or they'll say, what do you see in him? What's wrong with you? No. And there may be criticism. So if you don't believe me, believe the people that are very close to you. And the Libra is also going to hint at it in some way, like I said, maybe indirectly, maybe quite candidly. There's going to be people around you that you will see flags that maybe you'll ignore, and there will be people around you that say it. So the popular question, what do you think about him? Cousin, what do you think about him? Sibling, what do you think about him? Mom, okay? You're going to see the more they get to know him, because he's very charming at first. That's what I'm saying. The concern here is not in close proximity of time in the future. The flags are, but the real problem will come out. Let me see if I can give you a time. I thought I asked before, but let me give you a time frame. I would say 2028. So we are ending 2025. You can date and it's going to keep growing, okay? 2026 rolls around. It seems like a long time away, but a year can go fast or slow depending on your lifestyle. So you would have an experience of the 4 seasons with him. So another Christmas, another, Valentine, birthdays, summer. Okay. So 2027. So piece of 2025, 2026, 2027 is going to be approximately the year that you start to see what you don't want. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. All right, so we've got a year now. 2027 is the time frame. So up until then, you can enjoy your relationship, but the smarter you are and the more boundaries you place, the better position you will be in the future, because you won't be both feet into the scenario. Now, I did mention, this might be confusing, but let's go back a minute. I did mention that at some point in this reading, in the near future, so the next couple of months, I did see that the Libra was going to try to, I guess, radiate towards you again, or like manifest you. Try to still see if there's opening there. So if you're seeing each other physically, then that means that you're going to see him more attached. If you're not seeing each other and it's still friendly, then you're going to see him more involved, or whatever the scenario is. There's a heightened response from him to you, which is him trying to get with you, at least his heart space. All right, so that's what that's about, because I didn't want you to confuse the Cody parts, which was up to 2027. I didn't want you to confuse that, because the Libra comes in and then he comes out, so he'll be really, really, with the intensity, and then withdraws a bit, and then again, and then withdraws a bit. And this is one of those times he's coming in, and maybe that's when he'll say something about the Sagittarius. Okay. Other than that, that would be it. Now, if you want to dig deeper into his love past, you will find things that maybe you don't like, but maybe you don't want to bother with that. And I don't blame you. The past is the past. Maybe you're the type of person that you don't need to know about his past because you don't care. You want to know who he is now. That's fine. It's all a philosophy. Some people really want to know, some people don't. If you feel that you really need to, you will. If you will dig and you will find what I'm telling you. You will question him and say, why'd you treat her like that? Why'd you do that? Okay, if you look deep enough. If you don't want to, then that's better for you, because you should be focusing on you and him and the future, not going back. But again, that's your prerogative. The part I'm more concerned about, because maybe he treated this lady and that lady in a certain way, okay, whatever, maybe he's a bigger person now, a better person. But what is mostly concerning to me is here, is the fact that I see that he has anger management issues, controlling issues, jealousy issues, and you may find yourself uncomfortably controlled with someone like this in the near future. Okay? So my suggestion is, do not bind money. You were probably not going to, but just in case I don't hear from you ever again, I want to tell you, do not bind your monies. If you pay for a vacation and things start to blend and you help him out, be very careful with how money binds, because when two people love each other and they're going places and he's, coming over more, or whatever your situation is, when money has a way of, love has a way of kind of combining stuff. Be aware. Maybe a comfortability of, I'll get it this time or I'll pay this time. That can come out later to haunt you. I paid for this. I did this, and cheapen it, because this is a person that can turn around and say, well, I did this and I did this, okay, and claim it. So just to let you know, that is part of his personality as well. So he's not a bad person, and he does genuinely think you're attractive, and he does mean well, but you can't erase his temperament and his issues that he has that need some kind of therapy or something like that. It's beyond what you can do. Okay, so that's what is hidden. Let me ask if there's anything else. Do you have any specific concern about him? Do you have any kind of worry? Okay, you like the balance. Okay, good. So that would be it. It's psychological. Okay, so there's a controlling factor about him, jealousy, controlling, and can be a bully. It can be a bit like a bully in a way. All right, and that's what it is. All right, sweetheart. Thank you so much, and have a good one. Can you see my comment? I did. I read, yes, I like the balance. I'm curious if he will want to think things fast. Thank you so much. Yeah, I did see your comment. Thank you, sweetheart.